With that being said, I thought this would be a great question to start the Q&A this week. So there are a number of reasons why I started mentoring and doing makeup artistry education. I did everything in my career the hard way, and I could have used a mentor, some actual solid education that was not in a school setting because I couldn't afford school when I was considering it. And I felt like with just a few things in place, my career would have taken a completely different turn. And that is where I started thinking about how I would teach things differently if it was me. And then when I started researching what was out there in terms of online education and training, I felt like a lot of it was just a cash grab. I felt that what people were teaching was not actually helpful. Like it made you feel like you were learning something. But from my experience, a lot of what people are teaching were not really practical for the type of job that we actually do in the real world. So I felt like I could offer something different. And I was just really disappointed by the quality of education that was out there. No, I have never run into legal problems as a makeup artist. The only place where I would really run into legal problems would be with my personal clients, so bridal, special events, and things like that. And when I first started doing weddings, which I think I was 19 or 20, I had no contract. And now at age 43, I realize how insane that was of me to do that. But I guess what you don't know doesn't hurt you, but it was really risky for me to go out to events and not have a contract in place. I had a little bit of a contract in place when I first started, and then I ended up paying a lawyer a ton of money to create a contract for me. So this is why I'm always on you guys about the templates, because you need them. You cannot do these things. People are not to be trusted sometimes in these situations, and you just need to come across as a professional, let people know they cannot mess with you. So your contracts, your booking policies and procedures have to be clear, your email communication has to be clear. So all of this stuff has to be in place if you're going to be working as a makeup artist in this capacity. In order to find clients, it's a very long, kind of complicated process. It's not very linear. I recorded a podcast episode about this. It's episode 8. I think the title is How to Network and Get Clients. I'll link you to that episode. Basically, as a makeup artist, there's 80 million things that you have to do at once in order to find clients. As far as what I do, I make sure I'm always keeping relationships going with people. I'm always meeting new people when I'm on jobs. I'm doing creatives. I'm trying to work with different teams. I stay in touch with old clients. I'm very friendly with my current client roster that I have, so I get a lot of referrals. I am very aware of how I present on set and who I'm talking to and what my work looks like, and I'm always thinking about what's going on my social media, and there's just a lot of things that I do to attract new clients, referrals, and also to maintain my client relationships. But listen to this episode. It will definitely be helpful for you if you're having a tough time. With the type of career that I have, and for those of you who are new to me and new to this account, I do a little bit of everything. So I don't really have an off season, so to speak. I have busy periods and slow periods and ebbs and flows throughout the year, and those change every year. Even though I do bridal, sometimes my wedding season is busier in the summer, sometimes it's busier in the summer, fall, winter, so it changes every year. When I have those slow periods, I'm just basically focusing on what is going to earn me money. So a good example would be if you're a bridal makeup artist and it's your slow period, you would want to work on doing styled shoots and creatives that you can use for marketing for the next year or for when things get busy. You may want to focus on creating content. If you have sources of passive income, which may include content or, whatever it is, you want to focus on that. So I'm always thinking about putting my energy into things that are going to pay me back, doing shoots that are going to help elevate my portfolio, creating content that may get me a brand partnership. This is how I manage. I don't know what the best way is. I just use an extra large Ziploc bag pretty much. I just make sure to clean off anything that could transfer to my other brushes. So mascara, liner, lipstick, I'll just use a little Cinema Secrets, clean off the brush, or sometimes I'll just take the brush and run it on a makeup wipe, and then I put all my dirty brushes in a Ziploc bag, and that's how I transport them. All right, in theory, yes, you should be taking everything. You should be saying yes to everything. You need to be open to every opportunity when you're a new makeup artist because you don't know who you're going to meet, the type of skills that you're going to gain, and you need to learn about how the industry works, good and bad. Now, with that being said, you're going to have jobs where you will quickly figure out if you're being used, so to speak, or maybe not being paid enough, or you just don't like the vibe. Then no, you shouldn't take those going forward. If you are chatting with people and it's just something feels off, don't take the job. But other than that, you have to be really open to everything because it's the only way you're going to learn your market, you're going to learn the industry, and you're going to learn about where your strengths and weaknesses are as a makeup artist is through exposure and repetition and doing. And it's really all about just getting out there and doing the job as much as you can in those early stages. Very good hygiene question. So when I teach about hygiene, I always remind everybody that we're fighting against something that is invisible. So with herpes, cold sores, whatever you want to call them, they can be contagious before they're even visible. They can be contagious, obviously, on the mouth, in the nose, and in the eyes. And this is why hygiene is so important, because a lot of the times, you're not going to be able to spot if someone is sick, if someone has a cold sore. And this is why it's important to work as hygienically as possible all the time. If you have a client that gets in your chair and they have a visible cold sore, you're going to go into hyper hygiene mode, no double dipping whatsoever, and everything is going to be disposable. I don't double dip in my kit, and so for me, it's not a big change, but this is why you need to get familiar with using things like the ghosting or the cotton pad method, not double dipping in your creams, of course, but I know some people still do that, which I cannot believe. And then just understanding how things like herpes are passed through our makeup. I worked a lot with the Temp 2 airbrush system during the pandemic, and I loved it because it was so hygienic. It was so easy to use. I used the pods, the refillable pods. The problem for me was that it was too expensive to maintain in my kit. It was also a lot of extra space, and I wasn't convinced that I would be going completely over to airbrush. Like, it was always something I used as sort of an additional tool to a traditional makeup application. It's not something that I just completely stopped doing traditional makeup and only did airbrush. I just think there's a lot of limits with airbrush in terms of the results that you can get on the complexion. I'm very much somebody that likes to blend and layer, and it's trickier to do that with the airbrush. I do like it, but for me, it was just completely financially not something I could continue to stock in my kit, and the amount of stuff you have to carry in addition to my regular kit, it was just too much. Usually when I have a client that's going to be wearing glasses, I will pretty much not do any skin prep in that area. I'd like the makeup as close to the skin as possible, and I'll use concealer and foundation that is more transfer resistant. I won't use like a more traditional cream foundation. I'll use everything that's supposed to be waterproof, transfer resistant. And then I like to set it with some setting spray on a sponge, and then I'll also kind of cover the eyes and lightly mist with something like the Kryolan fixing spray, and that usually is okay. I also will give my clients one of these so they can quickly reblend. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but I find cutting down on the skin prep and the amount of product in that area and making sure I'm using stuff that doesn't transfer usually does the trick. I don't know that I would have any tips that I could share in an Instagram story. There's so many things to learn about hair. This is why it is a separate profession from makeup artistry. So I think if your hairstyles are not lasting, then you need to go back to basics and really learn about different hair types and textures, different hair products, the bases of those products, and how they work with different hair types and textures, how they respond to heat. There's a lot of essential hairstyling knowledge that I think is often skipped over because a lot of us tend to learn. Well, I'll speak for myself. I learned hairstyling just because I had to. And the most valuable thing for me when I was learning hairstyling was to take a course. I took a night course just on the foundational stuff about hairstyling. So all the basics, all the roller sets, the different curling iron, like really basic stuff. And that's how I learned how to do things and how to make styles that last, because I learned all that foundational stuff. People who sweat that are in your chair, they're just going to require more work, especially when you're going to be on set with these people or at a job where you're dealing with their makeup touch-ups all day. People who sweat are more labor-intensive clients to work with. There really isn't any way around that. You constantly have to have your eyes on them to make sure makeup's in place, sweat's not getting out of control. You're going to have to do a lot of dabbing and sweat mopping, we call it. And with these clients, you have to be very intentional with the products that you're using. And if you know your clients are sweaters, or they tell you, you need to listen to people when they tell you they sweat a lot. You definitely need an antiperspirant. I like the Carpe lotion is what I use. I make sure I incorporate good setting sprays, and that just gives me the, bottom and top layer of that sweat absorbing sandwich that I'm trying to create with my makeup applications. And I just try to use products that are more water resistant and long wearing, and I won't use anything that requires a lot of powder to set. I just need stuff that's really going to stick to the skin, and I try to block that sweat from the bottom and also control it from the top. I had to double check with this artist what the term XDeals meant because I had never heard it before, and it's just another term for a collab shoot, a creative, or a TFP. In Toronto, we say creative, and it just means that everybody's coming together unpaid to build their portfolio. So we're doing a portfolio shoot. Normally, there's a whole team involved. You come up with the concept together, and you do these things to really network and build your portfolio. Hopefully, you get photos. It's a great opportunity to try stuff, get content. So that's the purpose of these things. And these are things that you're going to be doing throughout your entire career. It's how you elevate your book. It's how you meet new people. So this is something you want to do on a continuous basis. Normally these things are unpaid. If you show up to one of these shoots and you find out through the grapevine that someone's getting paid, it's then up to you whether you feel that is justified, whether you feel like maybe people are just using you for free labor. And at that point, you can decide if you want to work with this team again when they contact you, or you just want to quote them instead if they reach out to you. So that's really up to you.